It's a fantastic time to be building, and I think everybody here is going to be mad successful. It's just about making sure that you're in it enough, you're learning enough, you're building something that people care for. But I think it's a fantastic time to be building.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Hustling Unicorns with Harshith podcast. This is a podcast where we interview founders, founding engineers, VCs, angel investors, operators, and other folks in the startup ecosystem. For this episode, we have with us Rohit from Portkey. Hi, Rohit. Welcome to the episode.
Hey, hi Harshit, good to be here.
Awesome. So, Rohit, why don't you talk about Portkey to all those of our viewers who do not know what Portkey is and what you guys do?
Yeah, totally, Harshit. Hey, so I founded Portkey about 2 years back after being in the Gen AI space for almost 4 years before that. So I was building AI for customer support, and then we built AI for content writing, content marketing. And I think during that entire period of 4 years, me and my co-founder, we were both struggling with productionizing AI. I mean, we loved Gen AI, the possibilities that it opened up. And this is, all the way back in 2019 with GPT-2 models, and then 2021 when GPT-3 just had come out in private beta. And we were just blown away by the possibilities that this really seemed like real AI. Obviously, now real AI just seems like a misnomer. What is real, what's artificial, it's become very hard to determine. But I think back then we were like, okay, this is awesome. It needs to see the light of production, but then productionizing was a mad journey for us. So given that, we started Portkey with the goal to say, how can we enable teams to take their AI pilots into production faster, cheaper, better? Um, and that's where Portkey was born. So 2 years, we primarily are an AI gateway company. So we sit in between your AI applications and the LLMs, and then we provide everything around governance, observability, prompt management, collaboration, guardrails, and all the likes. So that's sort of what Portkey does. Over 650 teams using Portkey today. Our open source solutions fairly popular as well. It's been a fun journey and a very fast one as well. It feels a lot longer than 2 years that I've been here.
No, I think I can absolutely understand where you're coming from because the whole Gen AI LLM space is moving so quick. New APIs being launched. You have MCP that's come in. Everyone's adopting MCP. And I saw
Yeah.
that even Portkey is having MCP as one of their offering and stuff like that. So it's really interesting. So let's just go into like each segment or like each part of what you just spoke about. So. Do you think, Rohit, your experience before founding Portkey was in any way helpful to coming to the idea, or like, was there any situation where like, okay, I think this is what is needed right now to productionize AI? Was there anything like that that you felt in your
Yeah.
journey before?
Yeah. I mean, I think when we started even thinking about what are potential problems we faced ourselves. I think my co-founder and I, we were at the previous company we were at, we'd actually built 40 internal tools just to manage our production deployments. So we loved Retool back then. So we were building all of these nice dashboards on Retool to manage our prompts better, to do QA, how do we get these prompts into production? And I think these things are becoming very popular today. Like you thinking about evaluation, to think about guardrails, observability, cost tracking, etc. We were actually doing a bunch of this stuff back in 2021, 2022, when we almost had a quarter of a million users using our application back then. So we'd actually seen a bunch of these production problems. They were insanely frustrating because the web's been built for deterministic APIs and these were all stochastic APIs. So I think that is where the idea stemmed from. We said, hey, we've built these 40 internal applications. We're speaking to everybody else who's like, oh, yeah, we're also building some internal applications to manage stuff for ourselves. Um, what does the DevOps era for AI look like? So I think that big aha moment for us was AWS launched in 2008, but mass adoption of the cloud started happening somewhere around 2011 to 2014, which is where the DevOps revolution really kicked off. You had amazing companies like Datadog and Cloudflare and HashiCorp enabling developers to safely, confidently move to the cloud. And I think we drew our inspiration from there, saying, hey, we probably want to be that sort of a company that enables teams to adopt this fantastic new technology today.
Absolutely, I think that makes a lot of sense, Rohit. But can you talk to us about the journey of how you met Ayush and like how you guys decided that you are the right people to start the company? Like, you guys didn't like look for a third co-founder, or what was that like for you guys?
Yeah, I think this was a very natural partnership for us. So I was managing product and he was managing engineering at the previous organization. I was always a lot more inclined towards business and understanding go to market. Uh, and he was always the engineering at scale guy through and through. Uh, I think it was just a very good fit. We'd seen each other work before. We knew where each of us was good at, and I think there was just a natural partnership that said, "Hey, this would make sense." What also helped was that our wives are really good friends, so I think that is something that helps a lot in founder relationships. And I think initially we were thinking that maybe getting a more business-minded founder might be helpful, but then I think over time we just realized that hey, I think this is a good fit right now. It works, wherein I take care of the product business, he's owning product, technology, engineering team, and it's worked well for us so far.
Makes sense. I think, like you said, one person with an engineering mindset, another with product mindset, those are like the best combination for success. I personally do think so too. Makes sense.
Yeah.
So,
I think also what's interesting is that because we're building a developer focused company, both of us being engineers at the core helps. Because I think no other person would be able to understand the pain point of developers as well as we do. And I think that's something that we've brought to the team as well. Like we don't have product managers on the team. Engineering drives decisions here. And I think all of this reflects in the product, our messaging, and the conversations that we then have with customers as well. So it's been helpful. We didn't plan for it, but it's worked out well for us.
no, absolutely. I see where that's coming from. You have pure product people who don't understand engineering, but try to apply product principles to engineering, which is not always amazing. But when you apply engineering principles to product, I think you can have better solutions. That makes sense. Makes sense.
Yeah.
So, Rohit, when you started like building your stuff out, right? Like, how did you reach out to your first customers or like your first clients? Did they find it themselves? Did you go out and like was it like mass cold emailing? What was that like, and how did you convince them to adopt Portkey instead of like doing their own in-house solution?
Yeah. So the first few customers were from my personal network. So friends that I begged to say, hey, please use this, or give me feedback. I'm going to give it to you for free. Uh, we spent a lot of time helping people on different groups. So there were communities that were forming around generative AI. There were questions being posted. And I think we spent a lot of time just uh, building good relationships within that community without any intent of selling to anybody. It was only when a problem came out where we were solving that problem, we would just say, hey, we're building something. Do you want to chat about it? And that's when I think so that was another lever where because we were involved in the community, it helped us build the product better. And it also gave like the first few people who were willing to try it out. And they were also like, okay, we'll see how it goes. But I think it was just a lot of we were all over the place, like every community, uh, talking to friends, friends of friends, asking people to connect us. So it was a whole host of everything where, um, I mean, to get to our first five customers and our first 10 customers and the first enterprise. So it was all just like keep at it and try to find connections with different people.
Absolutely. So, Rohit, when you talk about communities, right? Are these like Discord communities, Reddit communities? What kind of communities are we talking about here? And like, if someone's building today, where do they
Yeah.
kind of build this community relations?
For different people, it's obviously different. For us, developers hang out on Reddit quite a bit. They hang out on dev.to where they're reading articles, learning about stuff. Hacker Noon's another publication. So these are these tiny, content places where people are discussing stuff. For us, even the OpenAI community board is where a lot of people are posing their problems. We are helping them out, etc. I think in India there was a WhatsApp group. It's still very active. That WhatsApp group was also a place where we found many of our early beta users. So, I mean, any community where there's a two-way communication happening, people are willing to give you a chance, I think that's a good place to build relationships.
100%. That makes sense, Rohit. So, Rohit, did you, when you started off like talking to people and like, getting your first customers, was there like a thing where you wanted to divide the market into people using certain kinds of APIs only, certain use cases only, or was it that because you look at your, like we discussed about how it's the DevOps sort of things for Gen AI, is it like across the board? Did you have anything specific that you wanted in your early adopters or something?
I think we weren't that choosy. We were also trying to validate the problem. We knew that this is a very new market, very new product. So PMF was definitely going to be either very easy or very hard. So we were just looking for who are what are the kind of products that are going to production with Gen AI and seeing some traffic on their applications. So I think the only thing that mattered to us was how much traffic do you have on your production website. If you had zero traffic, then I knew that I might probably not learn anything from you, and you might not find any value from me. So I think that was always the contract between us and the beta user saying, hey, I'm going to help you with the production traffic, but I need to see production traffic because otherwise this is not a good relationship. So that's all we cared about. Over time, we've obviously narrowed it down to particular ICPs, but at that point in time, we were just learning uh, about the product and also about what are the terms that people use that we could then use in our marketing and sales pitches as well.
Makes sense. You're trying to understand what matters, what actually matters to the customer, and bring that into your own narrative. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So Rohit, when you're talking about KPIs, I see a lot of KPIs Portkey is very proud of, and like I'm very happy to see you guys do really well too. So what kind of KPIs are you guys generally tracking as a company? Is it the number of tokens, number of users, number of stars in your repo? What is it for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of these, right? So obviously we like to see what's the traffic that's flowing through our AI gateway. We've taken an ambitious goal saying, hey, can we get like a percentage of worldwide LLM traffic happen through our AI gateways? So I think traffic through the AI gateway has been like a constant thing that we work on. I think we now do over 5 billion requests. We've done over 5 billion requests, and we're now adding almost a billion every month. So it's interesting how traffic has spiked from like a few tens of thousands of calls a month to now billions of calls a month. And that's been an interesting journey for us. Um, stars are, I think there's still a very much a vanity metric, but it's a good proxy to see if you're not gaming it, then how many people are viewing your GitHub page? How many people are actually then going to use it, try it out? So I think it's a good proxy if you're not gaming the system there. Outside of that, we very actively track adoption among users. So when they try out Portkey, you like it, you've added some of your credentials, then you went to production with it, and then you started making a certain number of logs a month. So that's I think our core metric that we want to keep improving. So how many customers have found success with Portkey? And now they may not like it, but in our definition, they were successful because they're now able to do XYZ, which is the promise of Portkey. So that's been, I think those are the three. The first two are more very visible metrics. The last one is more a real product metric that tells us are we on the right track or not.
Makes sense. So Rohit, where is Portkey built on? Is it a cloud thing on AWS? Is it on GCP? Is it across the clouds? How do you guys work in the background?
Yeah, so we have two offerings. We have a SaaS offering, which is deployed on Cloudflare primarily. So we are a big Cloudflare plus AWS shop. We also have a self-hosted version that we then support every major cloud out there. So we've done deployments on Azure, some really large, significant deployments on Azure. We've done deployments on GCP, but we're very cloud agnostic. We don't really care where the solution is hosted. Uh, but we really like Cloudflare Workers, which hosts our current SaaS application. That's where the 90% of the SaaS application is hosted for all of the good features and the pricing that it offers today.
Got it. So when you talk to customers, enterprise customers especially, Rohit, so are they preferring to use your own cloud or do they want to host it themselves? What is the kind of trend you're seeing out there?
Yeah, so I think depends on the kind of data that they're going to pass through to the LLMs. In a lot of scenarios, enterprises might have sensitive data, in which case we're seeing most of them prefer this hybrid cloud approach, which is actually a very good idea for a startup to build on, because on-prem deployments generally can get very messy, because you've got to manage so many different deployments, update them, maintain them. It's just very hard. Uh, and then SaaS might not offer the kind of data protection that enterprises need. And in the AI world, more and more enterprises want to move on-prem or private VPC than using SaaS. I'm sure it will change over some time, but today that's what the trend is. So hybrid cloud is this thing wherein we give them almost sort of an agent. So we call it an AI gateway. So they take that AI gateway, they deploy that internally. So this is a very lightweight thing. All your data is only passing through this AI gateway. And then all of the other systems stay in our cloud. So the
Got it.
gateway can connect to our cloud, share no sensitive information, but still have access to the full, transactional database and stuff. So that's the approach a lot of enterprises prefer, and I think that's what even we recommend to do.
That makes sense. Makes sense. So Rohit, I just was interested about why Portkey started open sourcing stuff, and I think that's a trend in the industry too, right? A lot of the AI companies, the companies around the LLM ecosystem, they're heavy into open sourcing stuff, and then have premium tiers. So what is that like? And like, I think I just wanted to know more about that.
Yeah. So I think the real reason we open sourced was um, we were seeing some other products come out in the AI gateway, or this model routing space, and we were actually one of the first ones to start talking about an AI gateway. What is this AI gateway pattern? What's it all about? And then we saw some open source products come out, and we were really like not happy with the direction this technology was being taken into. And we said, hey, this is the right way to do it. It's so much more performant, reliable, etc. So we said, okay, we'll just open source the core technology, because this is something everybody should have. So it was more just like, hey, we've built something awesome. We're going to share it with you. Please feel free to use it, and also build on this pattern than use other patterns that we felt were absolutely not going to be performance efficient or effective. So that was one. Obviously, the business reason of it was twofold. One, we wanted to build trust with developers. We wanted to say that, hey, look at our technology. You can feel free to play around with it. And that's how we wanted to build some trust with developers, to say, hey, our code is out in the open and we can be transparent and honest about it. Second, because we were in a space that's moving so fast, it also gives our community a chance to contribute back to the direction of the gateway itself. And I think that was something that was really important to us as well. So, yeah, I think those three were the broad reasons. We'd never done open source before. We're not open source developers at heart. This was the first time we were doing it. But I think I am very, very satisfied with the way it's gone, and the kind of contributions we've then received from the community as well.
Makes sense. So, Rohit, what is the difference between the open source version of Portkey versus the paid version? Like, how are the two different?
So the open source version is a stateless version of just our routing technology. Uh, all of the bells and whistles on top, which is the control panel, the UI, observability, reporting, etc., is all part of the paid offering.
Got it. And this is a question I've had, and a lot of people I've spoken to also having this question, is how hard is it for companies to actually build this control panel themselves, like this UI and stuff like that themselves? I'm sure people ask you the same question as well, because the routing technology, I think, is a core IP. I'm assuming. Is it not hard for companies to just build that panel on top? What do you think about that?
I think building anything right now is just very simple, right? With all of these coding agents coming about, and you've got Cursor and Windsurf and Claude Code and whatnot, I don't think building anything is hard anymore. It's about having the right thing of what do you want to build, what is useful to me at this point in time, can I maintain it long term, and can this be reliably put into production. I think those are the things that have begun to matter a lot more. And that's also the reason why enterprises trust us, right? I think it's just also it comes down to most people don't build everything just because they can. They still use, they'll still say, hey, if I'm getting it at a price that works for me, I'm happy to do that. So Yeah, but I don't think technology is a moat any longer. Um, GitHub's crawling all of our code any which way, and it'll surface it up in VS Code. So, I mean, that's just how it is now.
Makes sense. Makes sense. So, Rohit, just switching gears right now, talking about funding and stuff like that, right? So, what stage of a company in funding terms are you guys, and like how much
Yeah.
money have you raised, and what is that like?
Yeah, so we're a seed stage company, Harshit. We'd raised our first seed round in 2023, late 2023. Uh, the round was led by Lightspeed partners, with participation from some fantastic angels, including, Flybridge Ventures, PeerCheck. We got folks from OpenAI, Databricks, Cloudflare, Asana to join us as well. So have a fantastic uh, investor support on the seed side. Um, yeah.
Pretty cool. So, what was your journey getting these investors and stuff like? So, did you have to pitch to them? What were the pitches like, and how did you get the angel investors in addition to your Lightspeed who led the ventures? I'm assuming. What was that
Yes.
like?
So I think our first pitch was obviously to multiple VCs. We were very keen to work with a few VCs that we'd known in the past. So Lightspeed partner Dave was obviously he'd been a friend for a long time. We'd stayed in touch over almost 10 years or so. So he sort of knew where I was coming from and what I wanted to build. Similarly, I think we had friends in multiple other venture capital firms as well, and I think we had some really good conversations. Um, I think from our side, our pitch was fairly clear. We just said that, hey, AI is blowing up. It needs this ops layer in between. We've done this before and we really want to build out this product. And here are some early conversations we've had with customers who believe that this would be beneficial for them. So I think that's how we approached it. Once we had our lead investor in, then we obviously started reaching out to our network and Lightspeed's network as well on who would be potentially good angel investors for us. Then it was just like off that list, let's start pitching to people one by one. Let's see how many of them are interested, want to be on this journey with us. And we closed our round. So we didn't actually spend too much time figuring out the round. Our goal was to say we're not going to be super picky negotiator about every single thing. We're like, hey, let's lock in this money, let's start building.
Makes sense. So, Rohit, a lot of companies apply for incubators or residency programs, things like YC and stuff like that. So, did you guys ever consider doing that? Did you, and if not, what was your reason?
We didn't. I'm not really sure why we didn't. We were like, hey, we got this. We'll just do this ourselves. I think the accelerators do also want you to shift to the US for a bit, and we were in India. We were traveling back and forth, but I'm not sure how permanently being in the US at that time would even have worked from a visa perspective. Plus, our core market was the US, so we weren't considering an accelerator program in India. Also, this is my second startup, so had some experience from before on, the early stage stuff that might be that was very tricky for me the first time around. So I said, okay, this time we can do it ourselves. Although I would say that accelerators like YC do add a lot of value in terms of the network you get, the brand that you get, and everybody's posting YC this season on LinkedIn, and I think that
Right.
helps a bit with larger companies as well. Uh, yeah, but I think we were fine to do without it.
I think this kind of leads me to the next question, right? A lot of people who are watching this podcast are primarily based in India, but like you, they're building for the world, building for the US. What is that journey like, and how's it? Did you ever contemplate moving to the US to build for everywhere else? What drove your decisions?
Yeah, I think so. We spent a lot of time in the US. I mean, even the first 2 years, we spent um, all of the time that we could in the US. Uh, we made sure that we were attending conferences, we were meeting customers, we were, just touring and getting a lay of the land of how AI is evolving in the US. And that was obviously very helpful for us. I think anybody who's exploring it, I would say that being in the geography that you're about to sell to and building our community there is just like a given. It's just something that has to be done. and I think we did that quite a bit in the US. So I don't think we ever considered ourselves an Indian company building for the US. We were always like a US company building for the US. Um, and a lot of us that just happened to be working out of Bangalore. So I think that's sort of our mental makeup so much. I think the plan has been to move to the US at some point in time. And I think we also now have a team in the US that we're starting to build out. So yeah, the goal is to keep expanding on that.
That's pretty cool. So, I think the interesting thing is I met both you and Ayush in New York for in one of the events you guys were hosting. So I
Yeah.
remember that was also pretty cool because a lot of people. I remember you talking about an interesting thing there where you were talking to a VC or someone, and then someone who used Portkey came to you, and they were like, during that conversation, they're like, "Hey, we're using Portkey and we love it," and you're like, "Dude, that's like magical validation that we got for free, and that's so cool."
Absolutely. I mean, that's the best part, right? When you're doing these community meetups. I mean, in that meetup, I was surprised somebody had come in from Spain just to
Right.
be at that meetup and to hang out with us. And that was insane because, somebody who really likes your product so much that they're like, hey, I anyway got to travel. I'll travel in this time and then I can also attend this event. So that was really, really cool. So I think while, yeah, I mean, it's great validation, it's also very good learning from investors. I got to meet you in the process. So I
Correct.
think
Likewise.
all of that's very useful.
100%, 100%. So, Rohit, what are your long-term goals for Portkey going from here, right? So you said you have about 5 billion requests a month, you're adding 1 billion every month incrementally, but where do you see this going?
I think right now the goal is how do we so our strategies become a lot more focused towards enterprise grade production ready teams that are deploying AI applications, agents, assistants in production. So our goal has been one to continuously keep evolving the product to be matching the pace of AI because there's just newer stuff coming out very regularly. Teams want to try this out, put it in production. So how do teams do that? On the product side, we want to enable that. Business side is just going to be like about going after teams that are scaling in production very fast, facing a lot of problems, and then being able to reach out to them at the right time and solve for their problems. So I think those two goals, obviously, build the best product, uh, sell a ton of it, are probably the only two goals a startup can ever have at this point.
Oh, 100%, 100%. So, Rohit, like if you're reflecting on your journey right now, right, is there something you also mentioned that you had a startup earlier as well? You were in a startup. So, what was
So
that
what was
actually like?
that?
We didn't really get to that.
Hey, sorry, I think I lost your audio for like 10 seconds. Can you just come back
Oh,
to that question?
oh yeah, for sure. So, you also mentioned that you were also part of a startup before, like this is your second venture. So, what was that venture like, and how do you think that helped you in this one too?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So I started a company in the visual collaboration space back in 2011. So right out of college, I was building this platform that allowed teams to upload videos and in real time collaborate over that video. So you could really, start playing the video, pause it at a particular frame, leave some comments on it, and go from there. This was especially used by um, teams creating newspapers, and there was a lot of collaboration between them. Um, HBO ran a full website on our platform, and they had multiple teams collaborating and building stuff on it. So that was obviously a lot of fun. First 3 years of my professional life were building out that startup. Got a lot of experience into sales, go to market, how do you pitch, what makes sense, etc. Also made a ton of mistakes around hiring, around pricing, sales. I think those were all of the areas that I think we learned by making a lot of mistakes. And I think all of that prepared me for saying, hey, what does a startup really mean? What does building a business really mean? And it's very glitzy and glamoury on the outside, but on the inside, it's just about a lot of pain, discipline, grit, uh, friendships. There's just so much emotions that's attached to it. So I think so that was what it was. I think after 10 years, I'd forgotten all of the pain, and that's why I decided to foolishly do the second startup. But yeah, I think so. It was easier the second time around. I can say that I wasn't too focused on the product. I was very confident we'll build a great product. I was focused on business go to market because that's where I wanted to learn as well. So that was fantastic. But yeah, the pain is it's all the same. Like, how do you make sure that you're building a great business and then doing something that you really like at the end of it as well? It's a hard balance doing it continuously.
Right. So I think what you mentioned hiring, right? And I think that's like one thing that a lot of companies are really are really concerned about because as you're building a startup, you are like really quick, you're iterating really quick, and your early hires, especially the founding engineers, founding team, is like what is most critical. So how did you go about, like, how do you go about identifying if someone is a good fit? Is it like a culture fit? Is it their engineering fit? What is it generally that you look for in really early stage engineers?
Yeah, I think for us, a culture fit is probably the biggest thing that matters for us. Saying, do you have high ownership? Do you have high agency? Will you gel in with the rest of the team? Because when you're a team of 15 people, 20 people, you're expecting almost everybody to be self-starters. There's nobody mentoring you, coaching you. There's no opportunity for people to be like, hey, now tell me what to do next. There's very little management or delegation. And you're expecting everybody to just be like, okay, this is my stuff. I'm going to pick it up and run from there on. So we've tried to get as many people as possible who are self-starters, who are owners in themselves, have high agency, and are able to drive results on their own. And I think it's also a process of self-selection because people who are not open to taking like large amounts of ownership will not want to work with a startup as well. So there's like self-selection that happens on both sides. People who are curious, want to learn, like the space, will gravitate towards Portkey. And we've tended to pick people that fit well with me, Ayush, and the rest of the team. Because ultimately, when you've got 10 people in a small room, day in and day out, they better just gel well with each other.
100%. So, Rohit, how big is Portkey as a company, like in terms of number of employees? That's something I actually forgot to ask before.
Yeah, yeah. So we're about 15 employees right now.
Pretty cool. Pretty cool. So, Rohit, one thing that's like you said, right? Like the AI gateway space is also getting slowly crowded right now. So, what is it that you think is like giving you guys the edge to stay ahead of the market? Like, what is it? What do you have? Do you have like a hero product, or do you have like what is it that you think keeps you guys ahead?
I think the biggest differentiator we have in product building is just the customers that we have at the moment and how closely we build those relationships with customers. We have publicly listed companies that have hundreds of engineers that are continuously working on Portkey. We've got Fortune 50 customers that have got thousands of engineers that are now onboarding onto Portkey. We've also got teams of 10 people that are probably making like 100 million API requests a month who are very actively working on Portkey as well. So I feel it's a nice, diverse mix of companies, uh, very good relationships with us in the team that we get to feel the real pain of the user a lot faster. So when newer things launch, we're able to understand what are the real pain points and solve for them than picking up vanity features and then doing a lot of hit and trial. It does help that we've built an AI application in the past. So the first year was easy because we could validate the problems to say, we're hearing this. How did we solve it? And did we think this would be something we would pay for? So I think those were good razors to go by in the first year. Now I think we rely very, very heavily on weekly conversations with some of our champions. And we're very grateful that we found some amazing people who know so much about AI that they educate us and then we're able to build an awesome product in return.
Amazing. So, Rohit, going back to like how you sell in enterprise, right? Like as a B2B SaaS company, so do you guys find it easier to sell once you enter a company with a certain team? Is it easier to like expand within that company itself? And like whom do you generally sell to? Like who is your champion within the company? Is it the engineering team, or is it like a VP, or is it like the finance team, or like generally who do you guys find it easiest to reach out to?
Yeah, so I think mostly the teams, it's the platform team that ends up being the buyer slash user of Portkey. So this is a central team that's been tasked to be the COE for Gen AI within that company. They say that, hey, we want to make sure that we democratize access to AI, we give control back to developers, and we are able to still get control and visibility of our AI deployments. That's the team that will typically deploy Portkey. Uh, this can be, I mean, actual users could be like director level people, VPs, senior managers, etc. The budget will come from either the CTO office or the CIO office. So it's one of those two. Uh, if it's a if it's a technology company, then it's a CTO budget. If it's a non-tech company, then it'll be the CIO budget mostly.
Very interesting. Very interesting. So, as we approach the end of this episode, Rohit, is there any advice you want to give to someone who's entering the Gen AI space or the B2B SaaS space? Like, what can they look at, because it's evolving so quick? So, are there some things like the AI gateway, which is going to remain regardless of your LLMs, updating, changing, getting better, whatever? Are there like some core tenets, principles that will still always exist that can still be profitable?
I think it's very, very hard to say that. Like for all we know, Twitter's crying out and saying software is gonna die very, very soon. So if software is gonna die, I don't know what stays. Um, I do feel that uh, like in the real world, reliability matters. Reliability at scale matters, and you've still got to have people do a lot of the tasks which AI may still lead. But to manage AI and to support AI, you would still have a lot of humans doing those jobs. So while the job profile is going to completely change, I'm obviously very bullish that ops products that help teams build better AI products, ship them to customers, find real ROI, will always exist. Um, a bigger opportunity at this point in time is also great AI applications that have, that could disrupt existing spaces which haven't been disrupted for decades now. I mean, we're seeing examples of companies come up, do fantastic stuff in the legal space, fantastic stuff in finance. These are spaces which are usually not known to pick up AI too quickly, but we're now seeing insurance AI agents coming up so quickly as well. So I think it's a fantastic time to be building, and I think everybody here is going to be mad successful. It's just about making sure that you're in it enough, you're learning enough, you're building something that people care for. But I think it's a fantastic time to be building. I don't care about what's going to happen 2 years from now. Right now, this is a fantastic time to build and learn.
100%, 100%. Like you mentioned, things like Windsurf, Cursor, all of those are also making it really simple for developers to like build really quick and iterate really fast. That makes sense.
Absolutely, yes.
Awesome. Thanks, Rohit. This was a fantastic conversation. I learned a lot. I'm sure everyone who's watching this has also learned a lot. And I definitely encourage all of them to use Portkey because I've seen firsthand how useful it is. I've heard people talk about it too. So that's really amazing.
No, awesome. It was fantastic chatting with you, Harshit. We got to catch up at that Indian restaurant in New York once again, where you treat me to some
100%.
extremely spicy food. But yeah, I'll be up for that.
Perfect. Awesome. Awesome, Rohit. Thank you everyone for watching this episode. If you haven't hit the subscribe button, please do feel free to do so, and do follow Rohit and Portkey and Ayush and the whole team. They're doing amazing stuff out there. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.